So my second point, as relates to education, but again, this relates to so many different areas of life, is that intelligence is diverse and diversity is intelligent. Now we tend to put everyone into the same basket and expect everyone to follow a linear path and become the same type of adult, instead of letting kids be who they are and giving them space to flourish in who they are rather than what we expect them to be. Now there's a really cute quote that I read. A young girl, she's had her first week in kindergarten. She comes home and her parents say, "So tell us, how was your first week in school?" She says, "I don't think it went so well. I can't read, I can't write, and they won't let me talk." Which I think is probably captures what many people feel about the education system, is that while it has its strengths and while many good things come from it, there's too much stifling of human creativity. There's too much shutting people up, shutting them down, rather than opening them up to all the possibilities and potential in their life. So I'm a great advocate for what Howard Gardner called multiple intelligence. That is, some people are strong in the area of math, some people are strong in language, some people have creative intelligence, some people have, athletic intelligence, musical intelligence, and all of them are valuable. In fact, all of them are essential to the good functioning of society. We need to value the creative. We need to value all the diverse intelligences that come from the great multitude and variety of people. So it's important that we ask ourselves some questions. Do we value the full range, the full variety of human expression? Do we value emotional intelligence? Let me tell you a personal story. My son's 12 years old. Now, this is just one of the many things that I admire about my 12-year-old. But a couple of weeks ago, I heard an adult ask him how he was. And he answered and said, "I'm good, and how are you?" And I was so impressed by the fact that he was able to engage in this conversation. And later, my wife Meg reminded me that he had a third-grade teacher who'd given them that lesson in class regularly. When an adult asks you a question, asks you how you are, always tell them and then ask them a question back. And I think that is just brilliant, that a teacher would take on interpersonal communication, emotional intelligence, and basically mutual respect as one of the great values of education. So do we value emotional intelligence? Do we value creativity and the arts? Great anecdote comes from one of the guys who worked for Hallmark, Gordon McKenzie. He used to go out to schools and give presentations on creativity. And he'd always ask the groups that he spoke to raise their hand if they were artists. And when he spoke to kindergarten classes, every hand would shoot up, as fast as anything. When he spoke to second grade kids, maybe about half the kids would raise their hand. And then by the time he got to fifth grade kids, he'd ask that question, and maybe one, maybe two kids would just sheepishly raise their hands. Creativity and the arts is something that becomes shameful at some point. And do we value creativity? Do we truly value the problem-solving skills that we gain from creativity? Do we truly value diversity? Do we truly value a culture where different people are valued for different reasons, knowing that they all bring something that brings the whole together? So do we value creativity? Do we value empathy? Now, there's a brilliant story about a group of college students. They were nursing students. They were given an exam, a test, and the last question on their test was, "What is the name of the cleaner at this school?" Now, they were all just completely puzzled by this question. Most of them didn't answer it, just left it blank and handed their papers in. After the class, they went to the teacher and they said, this strange last question, is that going to count towards our grades? And the teacher said, most definitely, will definitely count towards your grades, because school is not just about learning facts, it's learning about people, and it's learning about how you relate to people. There's nothing more important right now than the name of the cleaner. Now they all went out and they found out the name of this cleaner, and I'm sure they've never forgotten it to this day. Do we value empathy? Do we value people? Do we value interpersonal skills? My encouragement, whether it's in education or in religion, in families, or even in corporations, is that we might learn to value a culture of diversity and respect multiple intelligences, nurture multiple intelligence, and encourage everyone to find their full potential, whatever that is.